All right, let's get into it. Today, we're diving into a strategic guide for modernizing your integration patterns on Azure. And look, this isn't just about listing off a bunch of new services. This is a real playbook for how you can transform your architecture from the inside out, making it way more resilient, super agile, and ready for whatever comes next. So let me start with a question that, if you're an architect, probably keeps you up at night. What if your biggest risk in a cloud migration isn't the apps themselves, but that tangled mess of connections between them? You can lift and shift VMs, you can refactor apps, but if the way they all talk to each other is stuck in the past, have you really moved forward? This is that hidden danger that can absolutely sink an entire cloud project. And that tangled web? Let's give it a name. We'll call it the legacy integration trap. It's this feeling you get when your systems are so interdependent, so tightly coupled, that making even one tiny change feels like you're diffusing a bomb, right? Cut the wrong wire and the whole thing could blow up. I bet this looks painfully familiar to a lot of you. It's the classic brittle file-based integration. You got system A over here, it dutifully drops a flat file into a folder. Then some scheduled script that hopefully runs picks it up. Then a batch job is just sitting there, waiting, pulling to see if the file exists so it can finally process it. By the time System B actually gets the data, hours could have gone by. And every single one of these steps is just a point of failure waiting to happen. The technical term for all this pain is tight coupling, and it is the absolute core of the problem. You could argue it's the single biggest source of technical debt in most big companies. It basically means your systems know way too much about each other. So if you change a file format over in System A, you're forced to go and change all the logic in System B. And that just creates a fragile architecture that is incredibly slow and expensive to change. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be this way. The modern vision on Azure is all about building a resilient, decoupled ecosystem, a world where systems can communicate without being shackled to one another. So let's break down what that really means. This chart really captures the huge shift in thinking. We're moving from something that's brittle to something that's resilient, from direct point-to-point connections to a decoupled world. We're leaving behind those slow, batch-oriented processes for real-time, event-driven communication. And here's the most important part. We're trading an architecture that is just hard to change for one that is built to be agile. Okay, so how do we get from here to there without some massive, super risky Big Bang rewrite? Well, the answer is you build a bridge. We're going to take an incremental, strategic path that lets us modernize safely and effectively, piece by piece. I absolutely love this analogy. Think of what we're doing as a strategic renovation, not a demolition. You put up this beautiful, modern API facade for the whole world to see, and then behind that facade, you can carefully upgrade the old, rusty plumbing, your legacy systems, one room at a time, without disrupting the entire house. And this is exactly how it works. This is the Strangler Fig pattern in action. So in phase 1, you introduce a service like Azure API Management to be your modern facade. It just sits in front of the old system. Then, phase 2, you start to strangle the old connections by redirecting traffic, call by call, to new, modern services you've built behind that facade. And finally, phase 3, once that old endpoint has zero traffic hitting it, you can safely decommission it for good. It's a classic, low-risk, high-impact strategy. Okay, so let's look at the actual toolkit. To pull this strategy off, Azure gives us a really powerful set of services that are specifically designed for building these decoupled, modern architectures. Think of this as your cheat sheet for modern integration. API management, that's your facade, your new front door. Event Grid, that's our super fast event router. Think of it as the traffic cop for your entire system. Service Bus is your reliable message broker. This is for when you absolutely positively cannot lose a message. And then Logic Apps acts as your workflow engine, the conductor orchestrating all the different pieces. Together, these things form a complete modern integration platform. So, why do all this? What's the real payoff for all this effort? Well, the ultimate goal here is to achieve true resilience. And the only way you get that is through decoupling. And this is where the strategy really delivers massive business value. You gain agility so you can launch new features without breaking old systems. You enhance resilience, which means one service failing doesn't cause a catastrophic cascade. You get improved scalability so you only scale the specific parts you need. And you get a future-proofed architecture, ready to adopt the next cool technology that comes along without a total rewrite. Ultimately, this right here should be your guiding principle. A lift and shift migration gets you to the cloud, but it doesn't really unlock its potential. The real goal is to use the platform to build fundamentally better, more resilient, and more adaptable systems than you ever could before. So, with a modern decoupled architecture in place, all those old limitations, they're just gone. You've built a foundation not just to run your business today, but to completely transform it tomorrow. The only question left is, once you're finally free from that legacy trap, what are you gonna build next?